Good morning to all my dear students. Hope you well and safe at your home. So, last class we complete our chapter A Shipwrecked Sailor and its activities too. So, some activities we discuss in our discussion time. So, I hope you understand very well and I got your answers too. So, it is very perfect way. So, I hope that understand very well in that chapter. It is what's one of the important chapter in the second unit. Now, we can move to the second chapter, second poem, a new poem. We can discuss that. It was just an interesting poem too. A name of our poem is From a Railway Carriage. Before that, I just ask a question that. So, what's the question? So, everybody likes to travel in train, isn't it? Yes, definitely. Already you travel in you travel in a train. So, it's just an unexpected experience too. So, here also there is some experience like that. From a railway carriage, our poet is just traveling in train. In that time, there are a lot of experience. So, in that experience, he has just shared to us. So, very interesting poem. So, name of our poem is From a Railway Carriage. So, who is the author of this poem? Robert Louis Stevenson. So, remember our new poem, the second unit, second chapter, a new poem, interesting poem. Name of the poem is From a Railway Carriage by Robert Louis Stevenson. First of all, we can just read the poem. After that, we can take it as detail. Children who had travelled by the trains would have had an exciting experience. Definitely, every student had an experience to travel in a train. That was a great experience. Besides the rhythm and movement of the train, there are the rushing scenes outside the window to look at. So, while we interested that, one of the interesting things is we want to sit in the side of the seat. So, that is why we can see the all images while traveling in the train. So, every students they are tried to sit in the side seat and they want to see the all situation, all incidents before the things. Here the poet presents a thrilling experience of a train journey in the 19th century. So, here the poet shares his experience while travel in the train. Just he says his experience to us. It is a nice experience while travel in a train. Now, we can read the poem. After that, we can take it as detail. Faster than ferries, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troops in a battle. All through the meadows, the horses and cattle, all the sides of the hill and the plain, fly as thick as driving man, and ever again, in the wing of an eye, painted station whistle by. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles, all by himself, gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and here is a green foe stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away in the road, lumbering along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. So, here our poet just shares his beautiful experience while traveling in a train. A lot of things while he traveled in a train, he just saw the things what's happening outside the train in that nature field. So, he's just each and every moment he shared his experience to us. So, while reading this poem, we also expect that we want to travel in a train and expect that things also. So, now we can once again read and take it as detail in this poem. Okay. So, are you ready? Okay. So, from a railway carriage. Faster than fairies. What's meant by fairies? Like witches, the goblins, angels like that. So, the train was moving faster than angels. faster than witches. What's a witches? A woman who knows magic powers. So the train just moved faster than witches or angels. Bridges and houses, hedges and ditches. So the train was just moving very fastly, faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges, houses, hedges and ditches also. So the train was just moving very fastly. And charging along, charging means just rushing forward, the train was just forward. Along like troops in a battle. So while the persons in a battle just travel in a very on spot way. So that time also the train was very moving fast like fairies, witches, houses, bridges like that. So the first 4 lines tell about that how the train was moving very fastly. The train was moving very faster than fairies, angels. Fairies means that angels or goblins like that, or witches, bridges and houses. It's just moving towards before the bridges, houses, hedges. Hedges means that's a lot of row of bushes or hedges, trees. And ditches. Ditches means a narrow channel or dam in that, or drain, some water flowing in that way. So he just saw each and everything in that field. So the train was just moving faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges, houses, hedges and ditches too. And the poet says that while we traveled in that train, we just know that, we just move that. And charging along, it's just moving forward like troops in a battle. So while the peoples in an army just they move in an order. So like that way the train also move in the troops in a battle. All through the meadows. So the train was moving through the meadows. Meadows means a field. The horses and cattle. So while moving that time we can just see the cattle in that field. Horses and cattle are field in that meadows. All of the sides of the hill and the plain. So the sides of hill and plain, that was very beautifully sides. It was very experienced. I feel very excitement to see that hills and plains. Fly as thick as driving rain. So while we move that, it was very great pleasure, great force to move in that moment. And ever again in the wing of an eye. So that side was an exacting side. It was very experienced side. We can expect that side. And ever again in the wing of an eye, wing of with a short time, that is wing of an eye means with a short time we see all these things. What are the things are there? The trains are just moving faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges, houses, ditches and hedges. And it just move like a troop in a battle too. And all the sides, it's very beautiful side, it's very experience, we feel that experience, we too. Here the poet says the things, but while hearing this we also experience that. While travel in a train we also see these all things. So all through the meadows and horses and cattle, all the sides of hills. So the sides of hills and plains also very effectively seen. And ever again the wing of an eye. So at that moment, at a short time period, we see all these things in a little time period. Painted station whistled by. So when the whistles came, the train stops in a station. So up to that moment we see a lot of incident, lot of things in that moment. So the first set of lines says about the poet see what are the things, how the train moving very fastly. We already says that the trains are moving very faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges, houses, ditches, like that. And just take that here is a simile. What's a simile? Already I told the comparison. So here's a simile that the train is moving like a troop in a battle. So that line is an example of simile. And charging along like troop in a battle, that is the example of simile. So underline that sentence and put note that simile. So all through the meadows, the train through the meadows, the horses, and while moving we can see the train are moving the meadows. We can see the cattle and horses are just in that meadows. Then all the sides, then we can see the sides of hills and plains. Fly as thick as driving rain. So that the time is very great force time. and ever again in the wink of an eye. So, within a limited period we can see all this. So, while the time of whistle chime, the train will stop at the station and never see again. So, up to that moment we see a lot of things. So, first section we completed. So, I hope you understand. So, once again read the stories. From faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troop in a battle, all through the meadows, the horses and cattle, all of the sides of the hill and the plain, fly as thick as driving rain, and ever again in the wink of an eye, painted station whistle by. So, based on this section there are 3 questions. Are the does the train move through a village or city? Just you justify your answer. So, you should find out the answer based on this poem. So, first you read the poem very well. After that we can conclude the answers too. Now, we can move to the second stanza, second section of this poem. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles all by himself and gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and here is the green for stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away in the road, lumbering along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. So, now we can take it as a detail. So, here is a child, a person, a small child who clambers means try to climb the tree, and scrambles, moving quickly. So, here is a child who tried to climb a tree, and scrambles, that means to move quickly, all by himself and gathering brambles. So, all of the child and try to climb the tree. So, here is a child who clambers and scrambles. So, child has tried to climb the tree and he is just moving very fastly. So, while I travel in a train, so I just travel in a train, it's my experience. I saw that a child is trying to climb the tree and he is very moving fastly, all by himself. So, these are the all thoughts of mine, and gathering brambles. Brambles means a type of fruit. So, he just tried to catch or tried to get that fruit, and so that is why he just climbed the tree. Here is a tramp. Tramp means a person who wanders from place to place. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes. So, a person who is just stand outside the train and he is just looking closely. And here is the green for stringing the daisies. Then I can see the daisies are blowing. That is very beautiful sight in my eye. Here is a cart run away in the road. So, there is a cart means vehicle. So, the vehicle is just outside the road. It is just run away the road. Lumbering along with man and load. So, the cart, the vehicle is just along with a person and is just moving with the load. And here is a mill. Then I can see here is a mill. And there is a river. So, there is a mill, there is a river, and each a glimpse, each a moment view, and gone forever. So, it is forever, it is just a limited period. I can see all these things. After that, I never see again and again. While traveling in a train, it was just an experience. So, I can see all these things in a limited periods. So, second section the poet says the experience, first also an experience, and second section he says that a child who is climbing tree to get a fruit, that is brambles, a fruit. So, he is just tried to climb the tree and is just fast movingly, and by the mind I thought that he is just tried to get that fruit. And the other person, he is a tramp, a person who wanders from a place to place, he is just wandering something. So, he is just travel one place to one, I just like just to see that, and he is just know about the person, and he just gazing at the train. So, while seeing the train he is just gazing, looking very curiously and just look at the train. And here is the green. So, I see the green field and stringing and is just include the daisy. The daisies are blooming. It is very exciting sight in my sight. Here is a cart. So, then after that I see a cart run away in the road. So, after that incident I saw a cart there, a vehicle there, it is just in the road. Lumbering along. So, it is in that cart there is a heavy load with man and loads. So, heavy load in that place. And after that here is a mill and there is a river. Then he see the he just explained all things, that is he can see a mill, a river, everything. And he says once that, what that? Each a glimpse and gone forever. But each of these things in a limited period we can see. So, but the other time we never can see this. So, in a limited, a momentary, at that moment only we can see this thing. So, we can't see forever and forever. While traveling the train time, we can see all these things in a limited period. So, now we complete our poem. Once again we can read this. Just remember that this is an experience of the poet. He just share the experience while traveling in a train. What are the exciting scene while we travel in the train? We can see a lot of things in that. So, once again we can read the story, poem. Faster than ferries, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troops in a battle, all through the meadows, the horses and cattle, all of the sides of the hill and the plain, fly as thick as driving rain, and ever again in the wing of an eye, painted, stationed, whistled by. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles, all by himself and gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and here is a grain of stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away in the road, lumbering along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. So, there are a lot of new words are there. So, in those two sections we just we learned about that how the poet tell his experience while traveling in a train. There are a lot of experience, lot of things he compared to train. So, first of all he says that the the movement of the train is very faster, and the faster than, what are the faster things? The faster than ferries, faster than witches, and he just follow the bridges, houses, hedges, ditches like that. And he just compared the train in a troop in a battle. He just compared the train in a troop in a battle. Then he just says that while he threw the train in a meadows, he can see the cattle, horses in the meadows. Then he can see the sight of hill, plains, etc. All these things are in a great force. While moving very faster, he can see all these things. So, each these things within a limited period only the poet can see. He can experience that things because the train is very faster moving. So, that is why in the limited period he can see all these things. Now, the second section says that a person, a child who is climbing the tree to get a fruit like brambles, and he is moving very fastly, and he thought that he is just trying to catch that fruit. And one person who is traveling one place to one place, he is just gazing very curiously looking at the train. And the other thing, the daisy flowers are blowing very beauty. Then there is a vehicle, cart, that in that cart it is very heavy load and a man. Then he can see a mill, a river, etc. But he says that each of these things within a limited period only we can see, otherwise we can't see any of these things. So, we complete the poem. I hope you understand up to this. There are a lot of new words are there. In the below that you can see the new words: charge, troops, driving, clamber, scramble, bramble, tramp, gaze and lamp. So, find out the meanings from the dictionary and write it in your textbook. That is the first work of this activity, this poem. Okay. Now, based on this questions, based on this poem, there are 3 question answers are there. That question answers also you should write it in your notebook. So, the first one, does the train move through a village or city? Justify your answer. What do you think? Is it a city? No, definitely it is not a city, it is a village. That is why we can see the meadows, horses, cattle like that, hedges, ditches like that. It is only in the village side, we can never see the city side. So, the train moved through a village. Then second one, what are the expressions used by the poet to show the amazing speed of the train? What are the expressions of the, show the amazing speed of the train? Read the poem very carefully and try to find out the answers. And one more question is there. How does the poet bring out the locomotive rhythm of the poem? So, So, what is meant by locomotive and rhythm of the poem? After this class, I will give you a detailed note about this. Then you can write these answers, but you try to find out these answers once more. Now, first activity, question answers, you should write in your textbook. First you write the heading, from a railway carriage, Robert Louis Stevenson, then write the new words. Write new words heading, then here are some new words. Write the new words and its meaning also in your textbook and notebook too. Then question answers, only 3 question answers. Now, below that page number 65, there are some question answers and based on some brackets also. Answer the following questions by the selecting appropriate options. So, based on this poem, there are some questions. So, there are options also. So, now we can just move the question answers. What is the poem about? So, what is the poem about? What is this poem? Here are some options. The invention of the steam engine, a scary journey in fast train, a runaway cart in the Lord, a fast moving train and the people, places and things seen from it. Which answer is apt to the question? The question is, what is the poem about? So, which answer is apt? A fast moving train and the people, places and things in it. So, please put a tick mark in that option D. The first answer is, the poem is about a fast moving train and the people, places and things seen from it. Now, we can move to the second question. What was the aim of the poet while writing the poem from a railway carriage? So, the second question is, what is the aim of the poet? What is the aim of? To entertain readers with an exciting description of a train ride, to teach the riders how the train engines operate, to tell readers about his experience on a train, to warn readers never to ride on fast trains. So, while I am asking this question in your home, you should say the answers. Which option is correct? C. I think it's C, isn't it? Yes. To tell readers about his experience on a train. So, the second answer is option C. Now, we can move to the next one. Read the line from the poem. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes. Which word has almost the same meaning as gazes? So, gazes I already told the meaning, that is looking. So, here are some options, the sits, looks, screens, ignores. So, which option is correct to this question? The question is, which is the same meaning, synonym of gazes. So, exactly you know the answer. The answer is looks. So, third answer, B section. Now, we can move to next question. What is similar about the words witches and ditches? Witches and ditches also I told the meaning. Both are in the middle of the line and rhyme with each other. Both are the end of a line rhyme with each other. Both are the end of a line and do not rhyme with each other. Both are at the beginning of the rhyme with each other. So, which one is the correct? Which is the word similar words of witches and ditches? So, the answer is both are the end of a line and rhyme with each other. So, fourth answer is B. Now, come to the fifth one. How do the troops resemble the train? How do the troops resemble the train? They are faster than fairies and witches. They stand and gaze. They charge along. They climb and scramble. So, which answer is apt to the next question? Fifth one. Troop resembles a train. So, which answer is apt to this? So, the charge along. So, fifth one, C answer is the correct. Now, come to the sixth one. In what ways are the child and the tramp different? The child is standing and gazing and the tramp is gathering brambles. The child is clambering and scrambling and the tramp is standing and gazing. The child is clambering and the tramp is gathering brambles. The child is charging along, the tramp is gathering brambles. So, the sixth question, in what ways are the child and the tramp different? So, already we told the option. So, which one is the correct to that? Can you say? Yes, the child is clambering and scrambling and the tramp is standing and gazing. Now, come to the seventh one. What are the last two things seen in the railway carriage? What are the two last things? Do you remember that? What are the last two things the poet shared to us? A mill and a cart. a man and a cart, a man and a river, a mill and a remember. Remember that last two lines. Which are the last two lines? Yes, the part C, a mill and a river. So, the seventh answer is D. Now, come to the next. In what order are the people and things seen from the railway carriage? What are the order are the people and the things seen from the railway carriage? A beggar, a child, a cart, a mill and a river. A cart, a child, beggar, a river and mill. A child, a beggar, a cart, a mill and a river. So, what are the second section? What are the poet says? And last one, a river, a mill, a cart, a beggar and a child. The order from, what is the order? The correct order. C section, a child. First one, a child is climbing, try to climb the tree. Next, he say just a beggar, the person who travel place to place, he wandering a place to place. So, the second one, beggar. Then he saw a cart. Then he saw a mill and finally he saw a river. So, the answer, correct answer is C. A child, a beggar, a cart, a mill and a river. Now, come to ninth one. Read these lines from the poem. And ever again, in the wink of an eye, painted stations whistle by. Why does it seem that the painted station appear and disappear in the wink of an eye? So, already I told wink of an eye means a limited period. As they are seen from the window of a horse-drawn carriage, as they are seen from the window of a slow railway carriage, as they are seen from the side of the hill, as they are seen from the window of a fast-moving railway carriage. So, which one? A limited period, we can see all these things. So, which option is correct? D. As they are seen from the window of a fast-moving railway carriage. Then come to the last question. Read the last line of the poem. Each a glimpse and gone forever. So, last line. Each a glimpse and gone forever. What does the poet mean by this? What does the poet mean by this? You only get a quick look at something as you pass by, but you can see it again. You look at something for a long time as you pass by, never to see it again. You only get a quick look at something as you pass by, never to see it again. You can look at something many times you has passed by over and over again. So, last line I already told that. Within a short period only we can see all these things. After moving the train we can never see ever. So, that's why the answer is you only get a quick look at something as you pass by over and over, never to see again. So, the C section is the correct answer for the last question. So, up to this question answers you should find out very carefully, then only you can get a lot of idea from this question answers and understand very much based on this questions. So, these 10 question answers you should just tick mark in your textbook, no need to write in your notebook. Now, we can move to the 11th one and 12th one. So, 11th one, in the poem certain words and cluster of letters ears and repeated. Some words are repeated by using ears. Can you list out the repeated words in the cluster from letters from the poem? Listen, the letters or the words of the poem using the last word es. Some of the words are here. Do you think repetition enhances the musical quality of the poem? The repetition of these words are getting a musical quality of the poem. So, here are some words by es. Which are the words? For example, witches, ditches, fairies, houses, hedges. These are some of the words by using last word es. So, just write which are the words, you just write it in your textbook itself. Now, we can move to the next one, 12th one. Imagine that you are on a train passing through a number of places or stations. So, imagine now you are in a train and you are passing a number of places and stations. Name any 5 scenes you would see through the window. So, while you are sitting in the side seat and you just through outside you can see a lot of beautiful scenes while traveling in a train. So, what are the 5 beautiful scenes while traveling in a train you see through the window? What are the 5? Only 5 scenes you should find out. Do you have the same feeling of joy if you travel by bus? Is there any change while traveling in a bus or train? What is the difference? Just narrate or just try to write the experience by traveling in a train and traveling in a bus. So, first you write about experience of traveling in a train and 5 scenes. What are the 5 scenes you noticed through the window? This activity you should write it in your notebook. First activity of this poem, first question answers and new words, and now this question, 12th question, note down, you should write it in your notebook. That is, imagine you are traveling in a train. At that moment, what are the things you have seen? 5 beautiful scenes. What are the 5 scenes? Travel through a train through the window. And also you should write what are the difference between travel in a train and travel in a bus. Now move to the next one, activity 1, page number 68. In the poem, there are a number of words that describe movement and sound. You can see a lot of movements, comparison and sound also there in this poem. Complete the following table selecting appropriate words or expressions from the words in the box below. Here you can see some words. Words that describe movement, words that describe sounds. So, what are the words of movement and sound? First one, whistle by. So, while hearing the whistle, the train just move. So, it is the word describe of moving. Then what's the words describing the movement? Faster, fly, charging along, battle, lumbing. These are the words of describing words of movement. Next words describe sound, whistle, driving rain, movement with hands. These are the sounds, we can hear these sounds. So, please write it in your textbook. Here are some examples. Here you can see a box, faster, battle, charging along, driving rain, whistle by, clampers, scrambles, whistle, stringing, lumping and wing. These are some of the examples. So, write it in your textbook itself. Now, we can come to the next. It is a easy activity, rhyming words. Already you learned what is rhyming words, what is meant by rhyming words. So, activity 2, look at the words from the poem. Don't they similar? Don't they sound similar? Listen. Witches, ditches, cattle, battle. These 2 sounds are same. So, this type of sounds are known as rhyming words. In your poem, there are a lot of words such like that. So, find out the pairing of rhyming words from the poem. You should find out the rhyming words from the poem and write it in your textbook itself. Here you can see a space there. So, in that space you should add the rhyming words. Which are the rhyming words from the poem? Just identify them from the poem. So, witches and ditches are already the battle and cattle, plain and rain, eye and by, clambers, scrambles and brambles, gazes and daisies, road and load, river and forever. So, these are the rhyming words of the poem. So, you should just write it in your textbook. Now, we can move to the next section, activity 3. So, already I told you while taking the poem, there is a simile in your poem. So, while identify the simile, is there like or as? These 2 words in the lines, it definitely compared to the similes. So, in this poem, the poet uses 2 similes. Pick out these similes from the poem. So, already one is I told you. So, the other simile, which are the other simile, you should find out the simile and write it in your notebook. First, you write the heading simile, then write which are the lines of the simile taken from the textbook and write it in your notebook. There are a lot of activities of this chapter. So, that is why some of the activity you should write in your textbook and some of them write it in your notebook also. Okay. Now, activity 4, we can move to that. Underline the initial sounds of the words repeated in the given lines. Sounds repeated. Faster than fairies, faster than witches. What do you understand? What you noted in this line? Faster than fairies, faster than witches. Is there any similarity in this line? Yes, first sound is similarity in the first line. Faster, fairy, faster. So, this type of words are known as alliteration. This type of words are known as alliteration. Now, underline the vowel sound repeated in the. So, the vowel sounds also here. So, alliteration, repetition of initial consonant sounds of the words of a line. So, alliteration means repetition of the initial consonant sounds of the word, and assonance means repetition of vowel sounds in a lines. So, these two things you should identify in the poem's lines and identify which have the alliteration and which lines related to assonance. So, once again, alliteration means repetition of initial consonant sound and assonance repetition of vowel sound in a line. So, identify which are the alliteration, which are the assonance from the poem and write it in your notebook. First you write it the heading alliteration, then which are the lines alliteration, then come to next assonance, which are the lines assonance. So, alliteration and assonance we already completed. Now, next question, what effect do the repeated sounds bring to the poem? What is the repeated sounds that we listen that? Locomotive rhythm. Repeated sounds bring us a rhythm. We get a rhythm of the music. So, activity 4 is done, alliteration or assonance. Now, activity 5, activity 6, 7 and 8 also the, just we can move to that too. Consider the first two lines of the poem. Can you find out any pattern? Faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and witches. Read the poem aloud, giving stress to the underlined words. While we read, some words have a stress. The poem follows a stressed and unstressed pattern. The poem always had a stress and unstressed pattern. This pattern is repeated. So, this pattern is repeated until the last line itself, but not exactly the same in every line. Read the poem again. Doesn't it sound like the beats of a drum? It's just repeatedly we can see the stress and unstressed things. The poem has a rhyme of a moving train. Here is a rhythm of moving the train. How does the rhythm contribute to the meaning of the time or moving of the poem? So, now we can conclude 5, 6, 7 and 8 activities. So, after completing this class, after this class we can take an as in our discussion time. So, the fifth activity, we just talk about the fifth activity. Consider first two lines of the poem. Can you find out any pattern? You can see a pattern, a rhythmic pattern. There are some stressed and unstressed words are there. So, you should find which are the stressed and unstressed words from the poem, then only we can get a rhythmic movement. So, after this class we can discuss it detail in our discussion time. Then that time I will tell the what's the rhythmic movement or what are the stress and unstressed things are. Then activity 6, list down the rhyming words of each line in the first stanza. Name the words according to the similarity of an ending sound. Begin the naming with A words and similar endings should be named using the same letter. So, witches, ditches, same AA, battle, cattle, BB. Then next word, plain, rain, that is another movement, another word. So, C, I and by, another word, that is DD. So, rhyming scheme of the stanza, rhyming scheme of this poem is AA, BB, CZ, DD. Now, find out the other rhyming scheme also, comparing these things. Find out the rhyming scheme from the second stanza of the poem. So, from the first stanza we already say AA, BB, CC. In the second stanza also some rhyming schemes are there. So, which are the rhyming scheme? You should find out the rhyming scheme from the poem. Now, activity 7 and activity 8 we can discuss it in our discussion time, after the class of discussion time, and it's time just we can tell. Activity 7, in this poem the poet uses words to make pictures, just as might use a camera to take pictures. Word pictures created by poets are called images. Word pictures created by poets are called images. Such pictures may appeal to our eyes, visual, ears, auditory, touch, tactile, smell, olfactory and taste, gustatory. These are the images, poetic devices of the poem. Can you pick out the images from the poem? In every poem there are some poetic devices, and here also visual images, auditory images, something like that. Complete the following word verb by selecting appropriate images from the poem. Here you can see a word verb, images. So, which are the images from the poem? Here is one, a tramp who stands and gazes, driving rain. These are the two examples of this poem. So, find out the other examples of images like visual image, auditory image, tactile, olfactory, gustatory. So, which are the images of this? Try to find out the answers in your textbook. And last activity, you have enjoyed the locomotive rhythm of the poem, haven't you? Recite the poem individually and in groups, list out the pictures that come to your mind when you read the poem. So, when you read the poem, in your mind there are some words. Which are the words there? Can you present the pictures in the form of stills in the class? Attempt to choreograph in the poem in your class. So, unfortunately, we can't do that. We never come to our school. So, we can do it in a individual work. After this class, I will tell in the discussion time. So, now it is time to wind up today's class. I hope you understand everything. So, is there any doubt, you can call me or WhatsApp me. Thank you.